Welcome to Form 2 topic databases. These are questions and answers. So we start by looking at the concepts database, object, and DBMS or database management system. What is a database? A database is a structured collection of data or information stored together in one place for easy management and retrieval. When you talk about a database is just a collection of related data. Like for example, you can keep a database about a student or students in a school. Then we have an object. An object is a thing or an entity. In Microsoft Access, of which we shall use as our DBMS or database management system, you will notice it has tables, queries, forms, and reports. Those are objects. Then we have database management system. This is a program or a software. It is a software that is used to keep and manage databases. Then we have question number 2. Give 7 examples of DBMS. So we have Microsoft Access, we have MySQL, we have Sybase, we have Fox Pro, Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle, and OpenOffice database. Basically, these are just a few examples of many of database management system. In our syllabus, we shall use Microsoft Access. Explain around explain 6 functions of database management software or DBMS. So it allows the user to add or delete records. It allows for updates or modification, or somebody may talk of editing. Then we have organizes data for easy access and retrieval, acts as an interface between the database and other applications. Also, you can talk of it ensures security of data. You can give passwords or you can encrypt your data. Also, we have it keeps statistics of data item in a database. So basically, guys, these are some of functions of database management system. Then we have highlight 5 disadvantages of traditional filing methods like the file cabinet. Basically, when you talk about a database, the importance of database is to hasten the data, that is data storage. And in ancient days or in old days, we used to use the cabinets or the cupboards. So here, these are the disadvantages of using the manual file system or traditional filing system. It is cumbersome. That means it's difficult to arrange and retrieve data. It encourages redundancy. That means you can duplicate files without knowing. But in computer, we shall introduce something called primary key, which is a unique field that will prevent duplication. Then we have it occupies a lot of space. You can imagine files or cabinets in comparison to computer. Then we have poor data relationships. Later on we shall look what is a relationship or check what is a relationship. It is just a connection between tables that ensure there is no redundancy or repetition or duplication. Then we have difficulty in updates. Then we have state 6 advantages of database over manual or flat files. So basically we shall use the other answers and turn them in positive. So there is quick retrieval of records, there is ease of editing and updating data, occupies less space, reduce data redundancy, we have talked about duplication, easier creation of data, and also easier report generation and querying tools. Later on we shall see what are queries. Then we have database models provide structural design for storing and accessing data from the database. Using illustrations where possible, explain 4 database models. So guys, we have hierarchical model as our first model. So in hierarchical, data is arranged in a family tree manner, as you can see. This is called hierarchical. You can use such a diagram to demonstrate. Then we have network model, guys. This is our next one. So you have network model. Like here, you can see we have customers, supermarket, suppliers, and transaction. It is actually a network. Therefore, we say there are many paths from one database item, so as these figures indicates here. Then we have relational. You can see here I am using normal tables, but there is this link to show relationship, that the customer ID here is related to customer who is making the order. So where we have tables with the relationships, we call it relational model. Then guys, we have object-oriented model. This is a hybrid model that that combines object-oriented with the relational database concepts. So basically, this is a mixture of the object, that is of the relational and other models. Then we have discuss the importance of the following. So guys, these are the objects, database objects. We have table, we have query, we have form, and also we have reports. So these are the objects we are talking about. Then, so when you talk about a table, it's just a collection of related fields. A form is a GUI or a user interface that enables you to key in data into the tables. Then we have a query. A query is just a statement that is used to extract, to modify, to do calculations, or to sort data in the database. So you can also visit my practical session. The link is just below this video so that you can be in a position to understand the practical in Microsoft Access. Then we have explain how data is organized in a database. Basically, data is organized in terms of fields, records, files or tables, and later on we have now the database. So we start with the fields, records, files or tables, and then now the database itself. Distinguish between an entity and an attribute. Basically, when we are keeping a database, we are keeping database about something. That something that we keep database about or an item is called an entity, and that entity must have characteristics. The characteristics are called attributes. So attributes are the characteristics of an entity. Then we have a state. We have state the guidelines on designing a good database. Basically, when you are designing a good database, you study the user requirements. That is the first thing. That is the input, outputs. That is the input that will be captured and the outputs expected. Then carefully determine the attributes. We have said these are the characteristics of the entity. So you carefully determine the attributes of each data entity. Then you design primary keys. A primary key is a special field or a unique field that avoids duplication or avoids you leaving the record as blank. So differentiate between table and a query. We have looked at that one up there. Then we have primary key and index. There is a difference between a primary key and an index. A primary key, as I said earlier, is a unique field that ensures that there is no duplication of data, whereas an index is a unique value given to a field in order to make it easy for searching. So an index is basically there to make it easy for searching of records. Then we have text and memo data types. In Microsoft Access, we have data types. Like now we have text. These are alphanumeric. Then we have memo. This is long text. If you need to write a paragraph or so, or several paragraphs, then you can use memo instead of text. But in modern Access, we have short text and long text. Then we have what is a candidate key. A candidate key is a field in a table which has unique values and can be selected to be the primary key. So guys, you can look at that one. That one is self-explanatory for that matter. Explain why it is important to define a primary key in a database. I think I have severally said that the primary key is used to make sure that data is not duplicated. Then we have state two main properties that make a field qualify to be a primary key. We have said when it does not allow null or blank. Null, you can also talk of blank or empty fields, blank. Then we have it avoids duplicate. It avoids you from duplicating. Then we have, with reference to database management software such as Microsoft Access, outline how you would create a database. Basically, you open Microsoft Access, then you type the name of the database. Like here, you are creating a database called PESA. So basically, these are the steps. You open Access, you click on blank, then you save the database as given. Then from there, you go to create and then hit table design. Therefore, you'll be in a position to work on it. Then specify the field data types of the following. We have said we have several data types. Like now, telephone number. If you write a telephone number, 0 disappears, like 07 blah blah blah. So you put that one as text. Then in case you are dealing with money, that data type is called currency. If you are talking of date and time, the data type is date and time. If you have something like gender, female or male, where you have to switch between yes and no, or true false. So for that case, we have yes no data type. Then picture. When you want to put a picture, you can use array or object linking and embedding. You can also use a new data type called attachment. You can also use attachment data type. Then for any numeric field, you use numeric data type. But if you want incrementing numbers automatically, you set that one as auto number. Then what are field properties? Field properties are special characters set for each data attribute or field, such as length of the input, type, and then format, among others. So field properties, we have format, we have field size, we have caption, default value, validation rule. You can visit my practical session for those. Restrict the user to, we have differentiate between a primary key, differentiate between a primary key and a foreign key. Primary key, we have talked of being a unique field, whereas a foreign key is the primary key of the primary table included in the secondary table. So if like I took you in the tables when we are dealing with database models, you realize that customer ID was in table 1 and table 2. So for that case, when you talk about customer ID being in table 2, reference from table 1, then it becomes a foreign key. Then describe describe the concept behind relating tables. So two tables are linked, making records in one table to refer to those in the other table. So this enables specific attributes of data stored in multiple linked tables to display in a single query. So that is the essence or the importance of relationship. Then we have define an entity relationship model. It is a data model showing the relationship between various entities in the database. Simple and clear. Then we have types of relationship. We are supposed to explain types of relationship. We usually have one-to-many relationship. This is whereby one field in one table relates to one field in second table. But we have a situation whereby one field, like the customer, may make many orders. So one-to-many relationship. Like now, we can have one record in the parent table relating to several records, just like I have shown there. Then we have many-to-many. Like now, one teacher many teachers may teach many students. Like in high school, you'll get we have many teachers because of many subjects teaching many students. So that for that case, we have many-to-many relationship. Then we have explain when it is necessary to filter in query records. So a filter returns records that have all the fields in the database or in the table, where a query may retrieve only some fields of the records. A filter allows one to view records based on a certain criteria during a session without making it permanent object, as it is the case of a query. Then we have something called normalization. When you are dealing with database, it is important to narrow down to avoid duplication. So normalization is the process of simplifying database entity attribute in such a manner as to make sure that fields do not store repeating values. So this reduces data redundancy. So the essence of normalization is to narrow down. Like now here, you look at this. We have customer ID, customer name, customer email, customer phone, customer address. Then you see from now this point here, we have now, we shall narrow down. Like now here, there is the normalization done. Like now you see, I have separated customer ID with the address. Whereas here, the customer ID is representing the name, customer email, and customer phone number. So explain why it is important to reinforce referential integrity between related tables. So enforcing referential integrity ensures that each record entered in the related table has its foreign keys associated to an existing primary key in the primary table. So basically, what we mean by enforcing referential integrity is to compare. It is to compare by ticking. There is somewhere you tick when creating relationship that enforce or reinforce. That is enforce, should be enforce. That you should enforce the referential integrity. So explain how you would import a worksheet from a workbook into a database. So basically, you open file menu, then you go to use that, then you go to get data in Microsoft, that is in Microsoft 97 to this, or external data tab, then import group in Microsoft Access to 7 and above, that is up to 2021. Then we have define the terms form, bound control, and bound control. So basically, a form is a GUI, like we said earlier, that allows data entry, whereas a bound control is a control on a form that is associated to a table or query, whereas unbound control is it's actually a label on the form that is, or a text box that is not associated to any underlying table or query. So these questions are very crucial. State two ways of creating forms in a typical DBMS. So you can use design view or you can use form wizard. Then we have a different question here. We go to querying. So define the terms query. We have dynaset. Should be dynaset and SQL. So when you talk about a dynaset is a resort. It is a resort of a query. Then we have SQL. This stands for structured query language. It is just a language that that database understands. Then a query, we said it is an object that is used to retrieve, manipulate, edit data from a database. Then we have the next question. Different types of queries. We have a select query. We also have update query, delete query. There are so many queries. So we have write a criteria that would accomplish the following. That is, display all the records whose first letter field starts with P. You can write like P, or you can just put P and asterisk like that. So this one can also qualify to be an answer. You can try it in Microsoft Access query. Display all the records in date of birth falling between 1990 and 2016. So you just write between, you write the first date and the last date. What is a calculated field? Okay, sometimes like you can have year of birth and then you want to produce, that is, you want to produce or to get age. If age was not a field in the table and you include it in a query for calculation purposes, then it qualifies to be a calculated field. And therefore, a calculated field is created in a query using a mathematical expression. The operands are based on the existing fields. Like now you can say year of birth minus the current year. Then we have explain how you would insert a calculated control in a query. That one you can just try it in practical session. Then we have define or differentiate between a report and a label. So a report is used to summarize records from tables and queries, whereas a label is used for purpose of addressing or identifying an item. Explain the importance of creating a report based on a query rather than a database. A report based on query will only display the records which have been selected using a particular criteria, hence it will be brief and targeted. On the other hand, a report based on database table retrieves all the records in the table. Also, when you want to filter or to produce specific data, it's important to base your report from a query. Highlight 3 ways of making a report attractive. So you can group similar records, you can sort and group again, and also you can select good display style. There are some styles or auto format. Outline the steps you would follow to generate a mailing label of size 21mm by 15. So to generate a mailing label in Microsoft Access, using the wizard, open the database. In the database window, click on Report tab, then New. From the New Report tab, use the Custom button to set the label size, and finally click on Finish. You can just attempt that. Explain why it is important to sort records on a report and also group. Sorting enables the target readers of the report to quick locate or to easier the search of whatever they want. Then we have group records. Grouping enables putting together of records that have similar characteristics, simple and clear. Then we have this part, we have the macros. So we have define macro, encryption, and user account. A macro is a set of commands used to automate actions. Then we have encryption. It is a security feature used for encoding a data object in the database so that it is not easily accessed by unauthorized guys. Then you have a user account. It's a security feature used to authenticate user to the user system resources or database objects. Outline the procedure you would follow to create a macro that would open a report and print it at a click of a button. So these are the steps. In the database window, click the macro button, then New. Click So outline how to protect a database using a password. To set up a password in Microsoft Access 2003, open the database in exclusive mode. On the Tools menu, point to Security and click Database. Click Database. Then you set the password. So this is for the older Windows. Then in the box, in the password box, type the password. Then you re-enter to modify. So guys, that is the end of my presentation. Remember to subscribe, remember to share, and also download copies of these notes and questions from my website. The URL is below this video. Thank you very much.